That's it.
So, before we get started, so the managers, when you come up, I tried to give you enough tables where you could present what you're presenting to the board, but, okay, so.
He gave you the 3, 2, 1.
All right,
You're on.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here. Thank you at home for watching this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. The date is Wednesday, March 25th, 2020, and this is a Town Board work session. We have one Town Board special voting meeting item that we're going to be acting on this evening as well, and that's a resolution accepting a proposal for insurance. So before we get started, as always, we have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So I'm going to ask Councilman Shannell to lead us tonight. Would everybody please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to take a moment to think of all our first responders who are on the first line of this epidemic that we're going through. Also, I'd like to keep in mind all the medical personnel that are going above and beyond their call to try and make everybody safe as best they can. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, for the record, all Town Board members are present with us this evening tonight, as well as our Town Clerk, Ann Spofford, for the one voting meeting item that we're going to be acting on. Greg Fulchetti, our Town Council, is with us as well. We have 4 of our managers here. Rich Franzetti, Mike Kazari, Mary Ann Maxwell, and Jimmy Gilchrist. They have items on the work session agenda that they're going to be presenting this evening. And also for the record, the way the meeting room is set up, even though we're closed to the public because of the coronavirus outbreak and concerns, we have the meeting room set up that we're all at least 6 feet apart. So we're not all huddled up in here together. We do have space between us. Everything has been cleaned down and wiped and sanitized. So we're following the CDC guidelines with respect to social distancing. So we're trying to adhere to that as best we can. We believe we're doing that, and we'll continue to try to protect not only us, but the public that is still able to enter this building during the day for any type of service that they may require during these difficult times. So we're here tonight live, and as I said, it's a Town Board work session this evening. So for the first item, which is a Town Board special voting meeting agenda item, it's to accept a proposal for insurance. Can I just get a motion to open the meeting to act on that one item?
So moved.
So moved by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's open. This is a resolution accepting a proposal for insurance. Resolved, I'll read it. It's just one resolution. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby accepts the proposal of Brown & Brown of New York, Inc., DBA Spain Agency, Mahopac, New York, to provide liability insurance to the Town of Carmel for the period April 1st, 2020 through March 31st, 2021, in form as is on file in the Office of the Town Supervisor. And be it further resolved that the Town Supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documentation required to accept such of a proposal. I'll offer the resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Lombardi. Roll call vote in.
Councilman Shannell?
Yes.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Lombardi?
Aye.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Yes, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, that concludes the special Town Board voting meeting agenda item. This time I need a resolution to close the meeting.
So moved.
So moved by Councilwoman McDonough, seconded by Councilwoman Lombardi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Kenny, correct me if I'm wrong, but that insurance rate went down again, didn't it?
It did. Yeah, I don't know what the exact number was. It was 20.
But it's definitely in the right direction.
Mary Ann, would you have that?
No, it actually was a 4% increase. It was a 4%, due to 120, well, not due to 1, it was a 4% increase.
It was over last year's. Okay.
Yes, it was from 2019.
There were 2 proposals that were received. The second proposal was higher than the current broker that we use, the Spain Agency, Brown & Brown. So we did get a price from another broker, and they came in higher than what we're currently paying. So, but it is slightly higher than last year. Okay. All right. Any other questions on that agenda item? If not, we'll move on. Okay, Ann, good night. Thanks for being here. Okay, need a motion to open the work session?
So moved.
So moved
Second.
by Councilman Lombardi, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we have 10 items on the agenda for this evening. The first and second item with Police Chief Mike Kazari. The first item with the chief is to consider request to authorize budget transfer for the purchase of police vehicles. Chief?
So like I explained in the memo to you, because of the virus, there's a problem with parts. They can't complete the order of chargers until 2021, which that's going to run our mileages up quite high, and then we're going to need to get more vehicles. It's just a bad cycle. They can get us Durangos, the police package Durangos. Those are more money. In doing so, I need to transfer $30,000 from my fuel line, or from our fuel line, into the police vehicle line to cover the cost of that. So that's what the budget transfer is about.
Okay, so the Durangos are per vehicle, let me just look at it, the 34,870?
For the vehicle, but then you have to add all the extras, so it comes out to 48.
All right, so with all the extras, it's the 48,945?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and what would the charges have been?
The charges are 38. It's
38
within
change, so it's
within $10,000 each.
$10,000 difference.
Yeah.
But the Durangos we can get.
Now.
The availabilities now.
Yeah, he's going to put us at the top of the list because I complained about that we're still waiting for one of our chargers from last year.
Okay.
So,
So it's going to be three Durangos.
Which will
What
put us
you're
to,
asking to.
it'll put us to 5 Durangos, which will all have towing capacity, and then in a snowstorm or emergency,
Right.
now we have five cars that can be out.
Okay, and the difference in the budget, we have, you have enough funds in your budget to cover the cost of the...
Yeah, I discussed it with the town comptroller. There should be enough money left in the fuel line, especially with the gas prices. You know, the per barrel went down to $22. So we also are anticipating that there'll be extra money in the police insurance line, that if there isn't enough in the fuel line at the end of the year, we can move those funds over.
All right. Okay. So you have sufficient funding in your budget?
Within our
to cover the
budget,
difference
yes.
in the cost?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And Marion,
Personally,
you're good, right?
personally, I think the Durango is a better police vehicle.
That's a good vehicle.
All around.
yeah, you like the Durango.
The Durangos,
Yeah.
I like the SUVs as opposed to the passenger cars.
Well, you're
I think
you're large.
I think they're more durable and they're more roomy, definitely. So, and in a snowstorm, obviously which we didn't have to deal with this year, thankfully.
Thankfully.
We got this we're dealing with now, but yeah, so I think it's a good choice.
Chief, is the change in the increase because of this condition that we're in now, that we're not able to get them, right?
Yes,
Yes?
it's
All right.
caused a distribution problem.
Well, that's-
They can't get the parts. I assume that they must get transmission parts from overseas.
No, and I don't have a problem, obviously not a problem with it. My suggestion to Mary Ann is that we include the 30,000 in the COVID line if and when, because there is a special circumstance here, that we are spending 30,000 more than we had to because of the circumstance. And let's put that in the line, see if at some point, if there is FEMA money later on, we can explain that the reason for the increase of that 30,000 is...
I could ask the
because-
dealer to write us something,
If you could, I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I mean,
then we'd have that in the file in
you know,
case.
let's
Sure.
just let Mary Ann have it in the file.
Yep, good idea.
Now, Chief, are you going along forward with the Jeep also? Remember we were talking about
The
a Jeep?
Jeep's already,
That's already done?
we ordered it, and
It's-
he said that should be
And
here
that
soon.
should be good,
Because I was originally going to just cancel the Jeep,
right.
and when I called him, he said, no, that Jeep is almost done. I'm like, oh.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. All
What
right.
was the price on the Jeep compared to
The
the
Jeep
Durango?
is, well, the Jeep's little, but the Jeep
28.
was 28 all done.
Okay.
But it doesn't have the cage, it's for, unmarked, it's for
Right.
administrative vehicles, so it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the Durango does.
Okay, thank you.
And they hit you for $3,800 because they call it a police pursuit vehicle, the Durango.
Durango, correct.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions for the chief?
Nope.
On this item? Okay, the second item is a tuition reimbursement. As per the PBA contract, I'm requesting that the town board grant pre-approval for police officer Sandy Kreko's college tuition reimbursement. To date, P.O. Kreko has earned roughly 95 college credits towards a bachelor's degree in police-related field of study. He is interested in continuing his college education with the goal of obtaining his Bachelor of Science degree in sociology. Thank you for your consideration, Chief Mike Kazari. I just took care of it for you. All right, this tuition reimbursement is contractual. It's in the PBA contract that they have to submit for it. The town board has to approve it in order for them to be reimbursed.
Yeah, we have to pre-approve with
It's
the
got to be
board,
pre-approved.
or he won't
Kenny,
get reimbursement.
The ones that we've approved prior, I think had like what courses he took. This one, we don't have to.
Oh, that's the
Greg,
stipend.
I didn't hear it.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's the stipend? No, I was going to say, the ones that we usually approve are, like, we have, like, what they're taking or have taken, and I don't see that here.
Oh, yeah, so so first they have to get approved,
Mm-hmm.
and then they take their classes, and if they don't get a B or above, then you can say you're not getting the money.
Okay.
So they have to turn in their transcript. You did
Yeah,
that a
it's
lot
the
with
transcript that-
Karsten Johnson and
yes,
being,
Yes,
Yeah.
okay,
yes.
perfect.
Mike, the associates is 600 and the bachelor was 900? Is that what it is in the contract?
Yes.
Okay. All right, he's pursuing his bachelor's.
It's like 5 minutes tuition.
Yeah, good for him.
All right, okay.
Okay, so, but just before I go, just really quick, we had a lot of donations from people, and this community is amazing. Every time we have a crisis, everybody steps up. So I just wanted to thank everybody that has donated to us masks and gloves and cleaning supplies and food and, you know, pizza like today.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the men and women of our department and EMS are just doing an outstanding job. They're really sacrificing, and of course, like Councilman Channel said, the hospital people are just, you know, really stepping up.
Yeah, now, did you mention the pizza today, Mike?
I just said the pizza.
Yeah, I know. So I want to mention who actually donated.
Well, I didn't want to go through a list of people, but you
Well,
can.
the
and
pizza,
then-
I could cover the pizza today. All right?
Okay.
We had 10 large pies, pizza pies, delivered to the town hall, and 10 large pies delivered to the police department downstairs. So there were 20 pizzas that were delivered to the town hall today, and it was delivered by Benvenuto's Pizza in Mahopac.
On Secor Road.
It's really
On
sweet.
Secor Road. Thank you, Benvenuto's Pizzeria on Secor Road, for your generous donation. And Mary Ann Chalusian, I'm sure some of you are familiar with her from, is it Mahopac Moms?
Mahopac Moms.
From Mahopac Moms coordinated it and arranged for that to be done.
And
So
Councilman
thank you,
Lombardi?
Mary Ann, for that as well.
Council Lombardi set up some food that got delivered also.
Well, it wasn't me personally, it was a friend. I'll mention his name. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty that you might as well, but Anthony Savino, a local contractor in town, emailed me and said, I'd like to help out in some way and drop off food wherever department you think it's worthy. And I said, well, the guys, you know, and men and women at the police department are here. So yesterday, right, Chief, we brought lunch over for about 20 people, about 1 o'clock. But, you know, the names are countless, right,
Yes.
Kenny? There's
Yes.
a
Does that
lot.
go to the PD?
Yeah, that went to the police department.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, it
he
did.
sent that over from Bucci's.
From
Bucci's
Bucci's
donated.
Oh, nice.
And also, just business-wise, because I won't go into individual, but Chris from Holy Smokes sent over gloves and cleaning supplies, like good disinfectant.
Yeah.
So everyone, they showed up, someone showed up today with masks and gloves, good masks. So, you know, the people in this community just band together, and there's always a problem with some knucklehead playing basketball or something, but for the most part, this community is solid, and we always seem to make our way through every one of these things that go on, every disaster,
Yeah,
every,
you know, Kenny,
Yeah, it's
we
awesome.
don't even have to ask.
No,
People
we don't.
People just
No.
bring.
this is a great
And
place
do.
that we live.
It is.
But I took up too much of your time, and I'll be quiet.
Thank you,
Hi.
Chief.
There was,
Thanks,
just
Mike.
real quick, there was the daughter of a retired member of our department, Carmel PD, who called me over the weekend asking what she can do, and she volunteered or offered masks, gloves, and PPEs. So I don't know if she dropped them off yet or not.
I haven't seen them, though, and there's also a resident that's going to drop off hand sanitizer, she told me Thursday, so I'm looking forward to that, because we have none of that, so
Okay.
that's going to be good.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah.
And, okay, awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chief. All right.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, next, Mike Simone Hi, is Mike here?
No.
No. Okay, Mike Simone, the Highway Superintendent, consider acknowledgement of emergency payment for VAC oil truck number 58. He's reports, this is to report the following emergency purchase. It's Lacoal Equipment Incorporated. The amount is $8,993.07. This is the purchase of fan shift bearing for a VAC oil truck number 58. It's a 2011 Freightliner Elgin Megawin. Sweeper is necessary for spring cleanups. If continues to run without repairs, further problems will occur. So the Highway Superintendent is requesting that the board authorize the cost for this. Its total is, actually, he got he got two quotes. Yeah, one was $95,4450 from a company out in Long Island, and Lacoal Equipment came in at $8,993.07. So he's requesting that the board authorize him to make this purchase for the backhoe truck. Any questions, comments about the Highway Superintendent's request?
No.
Okay, next, Marianne Maxwell. Marianne Maxwell, our town controller. You go there, Marianne? Okay. And just turn your mic on. There you go. Okay, Marianne is here to consider year-end 2019 general and highway fund balance analysis. Marianne?
Good evening. The past 2 weeks, the auditors, our auditors, O'Connor Davies, have been here. Actually, the first week they were on site, the week of March 9th, but the following week, last week, they were conducting our audit off-site. This is the final analysis of our fund balances in the general and highway accounts. The general fund balance is increasing approximately $875,000. Much of that surplus is due to retirements in the police department in 2019. Also, there was a vacancy in the building department for half of the year. I think we did fill that position later in the year. We also had surpluses in the employee benefit lines. Many of our employees are now taking advantage of the buyout for the health insurance. So we did have, especially in the police department, we did have a surplus of about $230,000 in employee benefits.
Wow. Significant.
In the retirement line and the health insurance line. So, people that can take advantage of that buyout are doing it. Some of the younger officers, if they're still on their family plan, they can get the buyout, and if they're single, So because of that surplus, we were able to increase our compensated absence fund balance from $1,785,000 to $1,815,000. That fund balance is to pay for retirements, sick accruals, due to retirements. Also, we're increasing the tax certiorari fund balance from $770,000 to $1,070,000. Most of that is due to the New York City outstanding certiorari claims. So we do have to put money aside in case we ever had to pay that. So, also, we are increasing the capital project fund balance from $1,005,000 to $2 million. In the highway fund, our overall fund balance is decreasing slightly, but it's still a good-sized fund balance. We did have to increase the comp absence fund balance from $300,000 to $325,000, but overall, it's a slight decrease, but it's $1,686,000. It's still a sufficient fund balance. So I'm asking the board to consider, approving the increases in these fund balances, and that's it. Any questions, or?
Any questions, comments from
Well,
Marianne?
no, but for the people at home, we're basically increasing our fund balances by $1 million.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
From savings you found in
Yeah.
other places.
Exactly. Yep.
So, I mean,
Yep, a
there's-
little under 900,000.
Everybody out there should understand that.
Fund balance or piggy bank account, right? Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so,
So for the people, the taxpayers, Ms. Maxwell has found in other columns, money, together with Kenny, that she put in these balances, and we basically increased the fund balance about $1 million,
yeah.
in layman's terms.
Right, and the big, with the capital project fund balance, that one going, to $2 million, I'm sure some of that will, and actually, just to mention that we did pay for the buildings, not the buildings, those 3 properties downtown, the Mayapack Bank properties, out of that fund balance.
Okay.
So this is something that we will use for Swan Cove or for, other capital projects. Of course, it's not going to cover the full cost of the Swan Cove project, but it will help substantially.
It was money that was not there a month ago.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Some of it was there.
What I'm saying.
Well, yeah, it was 1.5 million,
Yeah.
so, I mean,
Right.
that fund balance, we just created that fund balance, 2013, actually, is when I started that fund balance. So it's grown from 200,000 to 2 million.
So in the last
Over the last 7 years.
6-7 years,
Yeah.
we've squirreled away a couple
Yeah.
million bucks.
Right.
Yeah. And the city certiorari is still pending. Those are the ones that involve all the critical water supply infrastructure, the dams and the control buildings that are really a complicated piece of litigation that's not resolved yet. And typically, in that circumstance, there aren't refunds because then the city is required to refund it to the ratepayers if they get it. Usually those adjustments in the assessments are going forward, but in the event that there is, that number's got to be put aside.
Yeah, because of the town's exposure, we do
Yeah.
have to,
Those are the
hold something aside for it.
dams and control buildings that built, the properties have, tens of $1 million worth of improvements on them. And that's the subject of those particular certioraries, so.
And there's some other ones that are, are good size certificates, but.
Bob, you getting all this?
Yep.
All right, I'm sorry you're all the way over there, but it's almost like you're in the corner, but it's important that you hear what Mary Ann
Yes.
was saying about the fund balance, the capital reserve.
Yeah, and if you want to sit down, I know everyone's busy now, but we'll
Sure.
sit down and go over it
Okay.
in more detail.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Ann.
Thanks, Mary Ann.
Kenny, not to go off track a second, but, you don't have to apologize for the spacing of the room. In fact, I got some text messages while we're sitting here with a lot of kudos, and I've told people, no, Kenny set the room up. And so it's important, it's the example that we're setting,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't think anybody minds.
Yeah, all right,
I'm good.
okay,
Well, I'm going to save my comment on that to the end of the meeting.
okay, all right.
See you,
Good night,
Max.
Mary Ann.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mary
Good
Ann.
night. Thank you.
Okay, next, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is Rich Franzetti. Actually, you know what, Rich? No, Jimmy, why don't you come up and, I'm sorry, Rich. Jimmy, you have one item. Sure. It's 10, Rich has 5. So in all fairness, to get you out of here faster, why don't you handle your item?
Okay. So as you're all aware, we received the bids for the airport Phase 3. We had a discrepancy in a package, about 2 or 3 of the bid packages. So we're requesting to reject these bids and rebid this project. There was a time discrepancy that were in at least 3 bid packages that were put together. So we had some bidders that showed up at 10, some other bidders showed up at 11. So in fairness to all bidders, we were requesting to reject these bids and then rebid as soon as we can on this project.
That's how it should be.
Jimmy, that's absolutely the right thing to do.
Yep.
Right thing to do.
No question about it.
And Jimmy, you guys are going to make sure, double check, cross the i's, dot the t's, cross the t's, dot the i's, to
That
make
was all,
sure
that was all
that
done.
everything is
Yep.
correct
So,
now, right?
When they were produced, some of them were produced earlier at a 10 o'clock bid opening, and we asked for additional copies, and they were produced at 11 o'clock. It was buried in a bid package, 3rd page in. It would have been very difficult to see, but obviously we'll check the public notices again when we rebid this.
Yeah, please, because I just
My
don't want it to
recommendation is
happen
going to
again.
be that we follow the procedures that the engineering department does, is we have one
Mm-hmm.
master, and it'll be made from that. When you're dealing with electronics, anything can happen on a computer, but when you have a
Yep.
master copy, that's going to be the bid package that we deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll produce them from that.
Okay, perfect,
Jimmy,
thank you.
I'm sorry, Kenny.
Sure.
When's the next bid package going out?
Well,
As soon as you authorize it.
You have to
And actually, I
authorize
was actually asking for authorization to rebid this.
No, I-
So hopefully at your next voting meeting, which that would be next week, once we get that authorization, we will go back out to bid.
Couple things.
I was just
The
gonna
first
ask
thing,
Greg.
so when they came in, I think only one was opened. Okay, the bids, the remaining bids, when they realized the discrepancy, were not opened. They were returned to the bidders.
Yes.
So you have the authority to reject the bids as tendered, and to authorize the rebid. And then whatever, I don't know what your time frame is. Is it 2 weeks in terms of
I'd have
the
to work with
rebid
the
to
town
get-
clerk on that to get,
Okay, but that's
she has
a
a whole process getting. into
general
the
window,
paperwork.
right?
About 2 weeks, yeah.
Greg, is there any issue with us rejecting the bids tonight on a vote and then authorizing the bid tonight?
The supervisor must designate a clerk to
Well,
take the
we-
roll
We
call.
generally have one.
We can
Right, no,
designate-
but.
No, no, I'm
regular
generally,
time. You'd have to do that, you could do it by motion.
It's up to you.
And,
It's up to you.
and you have to designate a clerk for someone to take it requires a roll call vote because it's a financial expenditure. So you can do it that way. It's up to you. We've done it before, or you can wait.
There's actually no rush to this.
There's no rush?
No, none whatsoever, because there's still some legal matter that we have to deal with the county.
They still need an MOA with the county
You need
to
an
actually
MOA with
utilize the
county,
well.
Which is going to take
I don't
a
know,
considerable amount of time.
I don't know what
Where
the
are we at
legislature's.
with that, Greg?
The county is agreeable to entering the MOA for us to use the supply from well number 7, provided they can wash their carts with it and whatnot. It's not exclusive, but it will yield enough for us to irrigate the fields, but it has to go through legislative approval. I don't know what the legislature's schedule of meetings are in this climate right now. I would think that you're probably 60 days out before that's finalized, and you can't authorize the work till that particular thing is finalized. You could bid it, and the bidders can hold their bids open for, whatever period of time you deem reasonable.
I was gonna
But-
say, what if, Kenny, what if we do that, like, this way we can, work, parallel, like, work on, what we need from the county, and then this way we're not waiting for the county, and then after that, a month or two above that. This way we can get this done, so when the county says, okay, it can go.
You just can't award the bids, and you gotta
Right.
make sure that however the specs are sent out, that they're held open for enough time that we won't run into a race against the clock whenever the county gets around to it. So I would say 90 days for the bids to be held.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be a big deal, but there's
So
a
we have
mechanical
time,
part
we
to
don't
it.
have to reject the bids tonight. There's plenty of time. There's months.
No, I know I know there's months. All right.
Thanks, Jim.
You got it. Okay, have a good evening.
Thank you, Jim.
I mean, if the board's inclined to do it tonight,
no, if there's,
then the board's inclined to do it tonight.
No, we can
I'm
wait
just
until
saying-
next
I'm
week.
just saying that it's not time sensitive.
Yeah, we can wait until next week, yeah.
'Cause we-
A week is not gonna
I
matter.
thought that if there's other things going on, then it's fine.
Well, there's other legal matters that are
Yeah.
going to hold up awarding the bids anyway. They're going to take 60 to 90 days
Yeah.
to complete, so.
So we can just
So
do
we
it
can
next
do it
week.
next week?
Yeah.
Okay,
At your next voting meeting, I would have.
it's next week.
Right, I would have put it on anyway,
Yeah.
Yep.
when it would have been a
It'll be on.
resolution.
Yeah,
Greg, can you make sure it's on then? for the-
Yeah.
I will.
Okay.
perfect.
All right, Rich, I'm sorry.
No problem.
That we jumped you. No problem. So Rich is here for 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 5 is to consider request to authorize purchase of return sludge pump Carmel Sewer District Number 2.
1, 2, 3, which one?
This is 5, right?
Sorry. Sorry about that. So, Infomark, the operators of Carmel Sewer District 2 at the wastewater treatment plant, advised the engineering department that one of the 2 return sludge pumps with service at the wastewater treatment plant has failed. The pump is from the original 97 plant. We received a quote for $23,025 in an effort to seek competitive pricing. We were able to locate a company in Canada that can supply the exact replacement pump, which would eliminate the need for any replumbing to accommodate a different style pump. The company is ABBA, and the amount of the pump, including delivery, is $17,297. Copy of the quote is attached. New pump is both less expensive than a rebuild and a better long-term solution for the plant. There is 1 pump in service. We determined that the missing pump places the town in jeopardy of regulatory noncompliance and potential future failure of the serviceable pump. It constitutes an emergency. As such, we proceeded with the order on March 19th and expect delivery in 8 to 9 weeks. We did request expedited delivery, and there are sufficient funds in the Sewer District 2 budget to make this purchase.
Can I ask you a question on that, Rich?
Yes, sir.
Request to authorize purchase of return sludge pump. Shouldn't the operator have that?
meaning,
Why isn't the operator who's contracted to run sewer 2 buying it themselves? Why are we buying it?
well, because it's our equipment.
But it's needed for what?
It's needed to operate the wastewater treatment facility.
Okay. Who's running the wastewater treatment facility?
The operators are operating it. The town owns the facility. We own that infrastructure.
So they're working with our equipment?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I wanted to
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's all, everything that's there, when any of you go and visit any of the water treatment plants, the sewage treatment plants, that is yours. I mean, you are the commissioners of that.
Okay.
We own that as the town, and I take that back, we own it as the people who are the ratepayers in that specific district.
The district.
So we don't, the whole town.
So when we hire someone to operate it, they're operating it with our equipment, they don't supply anything?
They supply some basic stuff, but not big equipment like this. No,
Okay.
not at all.
Thanks, Rich.
No problem.
The infrastructure's yours, is the district's.
And Rich, those three, the three options, we don't need to get the wear ring and the other wear ring and the double mechanical seal?
Where is that from?
The quote, the ABBA, this here, these three.
No, they weren't necessary as part of it. We had gone through this. We worked with our operators
Yep.
to figure out what was needed, and this is what came up with that. So
Okay, so they presently don't have that then, probably.
I don't believe so, no. I'd
Okay.
have to double check that for you, though.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments?
The pump that's being replaced, how old was that piece of
It's
equipment?
from '97. It's when the original plant was built.
Okay.
So, what are we, 23 years?
Yep, okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, if there's no further questions on this item, we're going to go on to 6. That's to consider request to acknowledge emergency repair for services for Carmel Water Districts number 8 and 10.
Again, this is presented to the board to advise them of emergency invoices that were submitted in payment of excess of $5,000 for services rendered. Carmel Water District 8, there was a saddle replacement at 7 and 8 High Ridge Road. There's an invoice of $5,674.60 for services in February to install 2 new saddles and a 3-inch copper line to the curb valve. In Carmel Water District 10, there were 2, an emergency valve repair at Hilltop and Crest. Attached is an invoice in the amount of $6,087 for Cook Excavating to expose the broken valve on February 25th at the intersection of Hilltop and Crest. And a water valve repair at 12 Crest Drive. It's an invoice of $6,304.60 for a curb valve to repair and lawn restoration at 12 Crest Drive. This memorandum is put into the agenda as part of record.
Okay, any questions or comments for the engineer on this item? These emergency repairs to water mains in our respective water districts, which was 7, 8, and 10, and 12. Water main breaks are going to occur. We have a very extensive water and sewer district infrastructure in Carmel. They have to be fixed. So, and there's a cost to that. So thank you, Rich.
No problem.
All right. 7 is consider request to authorize purchase of filter bag replacement for Carmel Water District number 2.
So Infomark, the operators of Carmel Water District 2, advise the engineering department that the filter bags at the water treatment plant are outside of their serviceable life and are beginning to tear and separate. There are 3 filters at Carmel Water 2, each with 19 filter screens. As the board may be aware, the Carmel Water 2 filtration is completed by means of diatomaceous earth. One of the components of the system are filter bags which cover the suction manifold and allow the diatomaceous earth to build up, creating a filter layer. The tearing and separating of the filter bags results in loss of DE and diminishes the filter capability, which results in a reduction of finished water quality. So the filter bags are needed to be replaced. Because of the uniqueness of this product and the age of the water treatment plant, Infomark is only able to identify one manufacturer, treatment specialist, who can supply the requisite filter bags. They have requested and received a cost for the bags, 56 filter bags for the 3 different filter units at $195 per bag for a total cost of $10,920. 3 outlet leaf elements at a cost of $595 per filter bag at a total cost of $1785. Installation cost of $4,950 and shipping cost of $600 for a total cost of $18,255. Infomark has indicated the current filter screens are approximately 2 years old and have a life expectancy of about 2 years. There are sufficient funds in the budget for this, and request that the board authorize the purchase and installation of these filter bags.
Okay, Rich, I have a question regarding the installation cost of $4,950. Who's actually installing these?
The company treatment specialist, because it's a highly specialized product that has to get in there. So the
So-
operators in this case would not be doing the install.
So Infomark cannot install them?
I don't
Not-
think they won't even attempt it, because again, there's only 2 diatomaceous earth plants in New York State right now. We happen to have one of them. So,
Seems like a lot of money to install them, $5,000.
there's 56 filters.
If they showed, just a question, Rich. If they showed our operators, Infomark, how to install these bags, the correct way and the proper way to install them, could our staff do it? Our Infomark operators do it?
I'd have to ask that question. I don't know that answer.
Because there's workers at the plant every day. You know, it seems to me that if they were taught how to install these the correct way, we could save $5,000.
But those are the things, that's why I asked on the first item, I'm learning this as I'm going
It kind of ties
too.
into the first item. a little.
But
Yeah.
to be able to install something at $5,000 when you're running the plant, you should know how to install it.
If they don't.
Or is the
show
5,000
them-
coming off their fee? I mean,
Well, that's the thing, that's the other issue.
How difficult are they to install? Are they,
I'd have to find that out. I don't know. There are 56 filters. It's being done by the company who supplies the filters. They have to be taken out. The lines have to be taken off service. So it's not that Infomark is not going to be there when this happens. They have to be there to operate the system and make sure that the different lines of water, like there are filter trains that go through. One train has to be off while the filters are being taken care of. So they're operating the system at that point in time. So
Well, you
yeah,
look-
maybe they can do it. I don't know that answer. I'd have to
Kenny?
ask.
So it's not like, go ahead, Mike.
you're looking at, there's only a 2-year life expectancy on these filters.
Yeah.
So we're doing it every 2 years.
Yeah.
We did it 2 years ago.
$10,000 a year, half the filters have to install.
Right.
How long has Infomark been running the district?
Every couple of years, we replace the bags.
We just did this 2 years ago.
That's what I just said. It just says here, 2-year life expectancy. Total
So-
cost is $18,255 divided by 2 is $9,100 a year.
Check with Tommy Brand and ask him if the bag manufacturer, the filter manufacturer, can show our guys how to do it, to
Right,
save money.
Well, they may have to come there and do it, then we still have to pay the filter manufacturer to pay them to do it this year, and then we learn how to do it
Well,
for the
it's
next
fine.
time, one would think. I will ask the question.
Okay.
No problem.
Let's just say, how many years has Infomark been doing it?
Well, before Infomark, it was Severn Trent, and
And they all did it this way?
at 15 years,
Okay.
20 years.
So at $5,000 a year, let's teach the service, or in his next bid contract, require it that he learns how to put the filters on.
Yeah.
So we're not paying outside
25 a
contractor
year.
$5,000 a year to do it.
Yeah, 25 a year, because it lasts 2.
Because it lasts 2.
Yeah, so
quick
it's
question, do you
25 a
remember
year.
what the price was 2 years ago when they did it? Did it go up substantially?
I
Did it
don't
go-
know. I'd have to get, for the price for the install, I think the price for the install was the same. I think the filters went up a little bit since then.
Yeah, it's almost the same.
Which, are these filters huge? Like, are they large filters? Or no? I'm
Yeah,
just,
they're 4 foot by 6 foot.
oh, they are that, okay. All right. No, I was just looking at the freight, if they were coming in anyway.
$6,000
To
for the
do it,
filters, $5,000
You
to
know, they're
install.
charging $600 for freight, and they're coming up anyways to install it.
To install it, yeah, exactly.
So why are they charging us $600 for freight,
That's a good question.
you know?
Where they coming from, Jersey? They come
Yeah,
from
Rich,
Jersey?
just find out that, I mean, if they're coming up anyways to install them, I'm just asking, like, why is the freight $600? It may go by, I don't know. Just a question.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
good questions, thank you. Okay, thanks, Rich. Please get back to us as soon as you can on that.
Will do.
Thank you. Okay, any more questions on this item? We're going to move on if there's
No.
not. Okay, number 8, consider request to authorize purchase of sand filter roof, Carmel Sewer District Number 2. This has been going on for some time now, Board. Bob, are you familiar with this one?
No.
If not, Rich can explain to you where
Okay.
it's located and the extent of what needs to be done.
All right.
This is the sand filter roof we're talking about?
We are.
Okay. So, the roof has, this is, if you're looking behind New York Sports Club, there's the salt shed there, and there are 2 buildings that are associated with the Carmel Sewer District Treatment Plant. which connects to the upper part, which is across the street. The one building that we're talking about is the sand filter building, which is the one immediately behind New York Sports Club. The other one is the microfiltration building. That particular building has had a leak in the roof and has shut down a whole bunch of office space there. And there are also parts of the ceiling structure that are coming down. They haven't fallen yet, but they are loose, so they're concrete panels. So we talked about this, we put it out to bid, and I'll go with it from there. On March 13th, the bids were opened by the town clerk for this project. The scope of work involves the reconstruction of the Sewer District 2 roof sand filter building. Delaware Engineering completed the bid evaluation and recommended to award. TAM Enterprises was the lowest bidder at $598,000. Per the town controller, this expense was not budgeted in the 2020 budget. However, there was a surplus of slightly over $200,000 in Carmel Sewer District 2 at the end of 2019. This surplus, along with the significant balance in unreserved fund balance for this district, can cover the cost of this sand filter roof replacement. Based on the evaluation, bid amounts, experience of the bidder, and project references, we recommend the contract be awarded to TAM Enterprises.
Okay, did you understand?
Yeah,
where
just
it's
a question,
located?
if it wasn't put into this year's budget, how long has the roof been in disrepair?
We've been working on this for about a year now to finally to get the bids out and and everything else. So once we had the assessment of it, so.
Okay, I just think that there should have been some money put aside. We knew this was going to be a problem, no?
Well, so we had estimates at about $300,000, the bids came in about $600,000. So we knew that there was going to be a budget that was planned for.
What was your estimate?
I think it was, we had presented memos to the board, Delaware Engineering. I think it was 298 to 320, I forget, there was a range. There were 3 different styles we were going to choose from, and we went with the third highest one, the high,
All right,
number 3, I should say.
hear me out again, Ken, because here we go again. There was only 2 bidders on this job.
Correct.
One for $598,000 and one for $1,225,000. And Rich is saying the guesstimate out of this building was between $300,000 and $400,000. How could a bid go out, and we're seeing this over and over and over again, where the numbers come in by 100% difference? It's insane. Something is not right here.
You know what's not right? We didn't have more contractors bidding on this. And I'm disappointed with that. Not your fault, I'm not blaming
Yeah, it's
anybody.
not-
It's not your fault or the
not-
engineering department's fault.
This is a
Where
good
are
job.
these
How can we not have
contractors?
contractors bidding on
Where,
it?
where are the contractors that,
I'll explain to the board if you want to know.
Okay.
There were five companies that came to the pre-bid, mandatory pre-bid.
Have they bid before?
Had
Are
they
you familiar
bid?
with, I don't mean to interrupt you, but as you're explaining it, I want to know, these 5 companies, are all 5 of the names familiar to you?
They were familiar to Delaware Engineering, not to us. Delaware Engineering, if you remember, were in charge of the design of this particular, we RFP'd that out, Delaware Engineering did it. They were familiar, at least 3 of them or 4 of them were familiar with Delaware. We were familiar with TAMS, who happens to be the lowest. I did call the 3 that didn't come, and one of them said it was too close to the school system being able to do work, so they were worried that they wouldn't have enough time to perform this work. And they were concerned about the protection of utilities within the building. So part of the driver behind the building, you could take this roof off, there's really nothing in this building unless, obviously, there are people in there, right? In the sand filter building, there's electrical, there's the sand filters themselves, there's a whole bunch of pumps. The return sludge pump is in that building, the one we're just getting. So there's equipment there that needs to be protected and maintained in operation during it. So when I spoke to all 3 of the companies, one of them, Armor Tile, he didn't like the risk having to work in that condition, lots of exposure, and that he had other projects. He's busy. The first one I mentioned was Martino's. He was with Barrett Brothers, I think is what he's saying. Again, he was too close. He didn't want it to interfere with other work he had with the state school system. And this other guy, Jimmy, he was with A&J Construction. He said the scope was just too much for him. He picked up the
So
specs.
we have 5 people pick up the packages.
Right.
It's just the numbers, when they're so far apart like that, as a businessman, it bothers me.
rightfully so?
So they're going to rip the whole roof off, structure? And replace it with asphalt?
Yeah, asphalt cinders, yes.
You know, Mike, when I see numbers like that, the second one, that second one tells me that that person really doesn't want to do the job, but I'll do it if you pay me a
Right.
crazy amount.
Well,
I agree.
That's one possibility.
Right, but if Rich didn't just say that, we're familiar with TAM, the first one?
Yeah, TAM, yes.
And they were capable, I'd be worried.
Yeah. No, it just.
TAM actually did the Carmel Sewer District 7 roof, who was on the board.
You know,
right?
hearing that makes me, it's the only reason why I'm really accepting is because he says I know the first bidder and their work.
Yeah.
But Mike, me personally, I don't like awarding a bid to a contractor for a town project with only 2 bids received. I would prefer at least 5. 3, I'd be more comfortable, at least 3. So there's only 2. I know we have to get this done, but there has to be a way to get these bid packets out to roofing contractors. There's roofing contractors all over the place.
Kenny,
Commercial roofers.
with all due respect, this town has been noted as a tough town to submit bids to. And it's changing now, okay?
Yeah.
It's changing now, but word on the street, you ask anybody, you know, Carmel's was a tough town to submit a bid to.
Yeah, true.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
It's changing now.
And Rich, I think you have copies of it, right, in case Bob wanted to see what it looked like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I have copies in my office.
Yeah, Bob, if you wanted to see what the roof looked like, he does have pictures of it.
I definitely want to see it.
Yeah.
I'll take a personal visit there too, maybe I can.
How does the rest of the board feel about that? Only 2 bidders?
Kenny, it is what it is. I
Well, no, not
mean,
really,
Let me-
Sue.
no, I mean, it's horrible. I'm not happy
Well,
with it
I-
at all.
I know you're not.
Yeah,
I know, but
at all.
we accept these and we go on with this project, and presumably we're gonna award it to TAM at
Right.
$600,000 when we don't have any other proposals, any other bids from any other contractors that may be lower than TAM's. They could have come in lower. Now, you may make the argument that, sure, they could have bid it. They could have bid the project. Perhaps they didn't know about the project. They didn't know about it. Do we do a good enough job? And I know you had said that the Delaware.
So this was put on BidNet, this was placed on BidNet, and it was advertised as we normally advertise, so. It wasn't that, and I don't have the BidNet information as part of this memo, and I do apologize for that, but there were a bunch of people who looked at it, and they
I'm
didn't
okay
get
with
the.
5 people. He made me feel comfortable saying 5 people looked at it and picked up the bids. It's just,
But you're probably, knowing you're probably not comfortable with only 2 bids.
yeah, no question
It
about it. But
doesn't
Kenny,
give us a lot of room to, decide, was TAM's a good number?
The
Or
public-
could have been done a little bit less?
it's going to take time for the public, the business public,
To
to
reverse
understand
the,
that it's a little different now, and we're more open to business. The town's had a reputation of being closed and people weren't bidding.
And
It's
Ken,
the sad truth of the matter.
we can also look, like, to your point, we can look to see explore if there's other avenues, not just from engineer, from anybody, if there's other avenues where we can advertise for people to bid. Maybe it's more than just us doing our normal, and then going out on BidNet. Maybe there's other avenues we can explore, for moving forward. Because it is a continuously thing, we see a few people.
Perhaps
Yeah.
we should review the bid process as a town board to see
well,
if
that's
there's
what I was just going to say.
better way to do
Let's look at
business.
how we're doing it.
Yeah,
Let's look at the bid process.
That's kind of what I was just
How do
saying,
you-
like,
right.
look at it as a
Rich,
town.
let's look at, are we doing it correctly as a town? Is there something more that we can do to get it to, so it's more far-reaching? Maybe it's not far-reaching enough to other contractors that this is a big job. They may want to bid on this. They may want to, so.
We put it on New York State BidNet, I can show you how many people at least picked up the public notice, but only 5 people picked up the bid specs.
Yeah.
So-
And
But it's
maybe
not-
just
You know,
call
so,
the,
BidNet goes out to all over the country. It goes everywhere.
Right,
It
right.
goes out to I put, everything in there and says,
Yeah.
anything with the word roof, I pick that as a category, And as that category goes through, I select it, and anybody who does anything with roofing, whether they're selling you shingles or not, or they're doing the actual work, they're getting on BidNet and seeing that there's a public notice out there for this work. And if they want to get the bid specs, they either come to town hall or call Ann and they can, the town clerk, and they're able to order a copy from them.
Nobody more local bid on this?
Gerald Ayler had picked up a copy of it, but he didn't come to the mandatory bid meeting.
Say that again?
Gerard Ayler? I always messes up his.
Certified? Certified. What was the story with that?
He didn't come to the mandatory pre-bid meeting. He had picked up a copy, so actually 6 people picked up the specs.
Let me just throw this out there.
Did he submit a bid?
No, he didn't
No.
come to the mandatory meeting, so he couldn't submit one.
Let me just throw this out there. You know, under the current situation that we are all in, number one, how imperative is it, how much of an emergency is it to get this roof done?
There's a safety issue with this.
Yeah, it's
a bad roof.
this is
I'm
really bad.
That's fine, and I'm asking this way at least the public understands. What I was going to say is, there's going to be a lot of municipalities who rely on sales taxes that, of course, with what's happening now, are going to be substantially poorer than they had anticipated, and maybe some of these companies, you know, that do the work may actually could come in and do it for less, because some of the jobs that they were anticipating happening in the next few months or 6 months may not be there.
Reject it and rebid it.
That's
what you do.
I'm just asking,
I
I don't know
don't-
if that is accurate.
I don't think
you know.
we can reject this one.
The only way to handle that is to reject it and rebid it.
No,
Okay.
I-
You can't, there's no negotiating with,
No,
The bidder,
I know
so,
that, and whether or not we want it, you know, dependent upon the condition of the roof and the
How
emergency
exigent.
of it, if we should, I know, yeah.
Yeah, the roof should have been done a while ago.
It's probably.
You-
What's the
you-
timeline
you
of
see what I'm
getting the
saying?
job
You
done now,
understand?
as if it goes through?
I hear you. And
The bid
I'm
process.
just not comfortable with.
Well, that's what I'm saying, so therefore,
Kenny, maybe let's call neighboring, not even just neighboring, just other towns and see how they, you know, what they do for the bid process. Maybe there's other avenues that we can look at.
Well, they actually,
know.
I have done that. I've spoken to other town supervisors. What they do is, they have somebody, a staff member, personally contact companies that perhaps might be interested in doing the work and bidding the work. They pick up the phone and they have a conversation with them. They call them and say, look,
Yeah.
we're bidding this job, would you be interested in it?
Yep.
That's how they do it.
Yeah.
And that's how you far reach out.
Yeah.
BidNet does do that to a certain degree, but I'd rather see us.
But it's not personal.
Right, it's
Yeah.
not personal. It's not
Yep.
personal. So if I call the company from the engineering department and say, hey, listen, just to let you know, we're bidding this big project up in Carmel. You
Mm-hmm.
may be, if you're interested in bidding it, the bid packets are going out, give them the date it's going out and when they're returnable by. And perhaps maybe you can get more that way, but I asked them about that and they said that they have a list of contractors that they've done work with, that they contact. They
Yeah.
actually put the list together of, for every type of mechanical work that they may have, that may come up in town, and that's how they do it. So it's more far-reaching, it's actually more labor, there's more work involved in it that way, but they've been successful
Yeah.
in getting quite a bit of vendors. Two bids on a project this size, those two bids should have been 6 or 8 bids for a building for a project that size. We're talking $1.2 million, which I agree with you, Mike, is totally out in left field, but the 590, whatever it was, the 500?
600.
600, call it 600. How do we know if that's a good number or not? That's their
So
number.
that's
their
what bothers
number.
me.
But we don't know that. And I know it's a time-sensitive job.
Yeah.
This has been lingering
This
around,
one
it
is,
seems like,
yeah.
for months and months and months. It's got to get done. But going forward, I'm going to ask that we do a better job as a town trying to get better numbers. And when I say we, I'm including all of us.
Well, I think it's
Well,
gotta
that's why I'm asking
it's
these
gotta be
questions.
townwide.
Right.
That's why I'm asking these questions. You said there was a mandatory bid meeting.
Yes.
Do you do that in everything?
Yes.
Yeah,
So anything that goes out to bid that's big projects like this?
Yes.
Whoever's interested has to come and listen to what you or Rob have to say?
Right, we walk the site, we look at it, we inspect it, it gives them an opportunity to understand what has to be done, ask questions, because normally the question period ends a couple, 3 days later. So now you know that people aren't just throwing numbers out
Gotcha.
there, so.
That should be an SOP, which, are you saying it is, Rich?
Pretty much.
It's an SOP pretty much for all?
Almost all.
We make it
Okay,
mandatory.
okay, so it should be mandatory, I agree with you.
Do we post our bids on our website? If something's coming up, we want to get bids for it, do we post it on the town's website?
The actual bid,
We do not do that.
Maybe we
It's
should do
something that
that.
other towns I know do when they have RFPs are available, they'll actually post.
They should have a section on our website.
We could do that.
Has RFPs.
Yeah, make a tab that says.
So people could check,
yeah.
contractors can check,
that's a
and
good
Yep.
suggestion, Bob, and that's in keeping with what I just said a few minutes ago. We have to do things differently, we have to do it better, all right?
Absolutely.
So going forward, that's a great suggestion,
Yeah.
and we'll get that done.
okay.
We'll do that, all right? So, for
Yeah,
the
we can put a link
purposes...
of RFPs and bids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
RFPs that are out there,
That's
people
all.
at least see it, they can know.
that's not hard at all.
And a public notice.
Right,
all
so-
over the paper.
So depending on how we do, it, like RFPs, again, it all depends, right? We normally charge for our bid specs, so we'll put just the public notice up there and not all the bid specs, right? Have the mandatory meeting. That's for bids and specifications, these bigger projects. For RFPs, we can put the whole RFP up there in it, for instance.
You could just have a purchasing link,
So,
okay?
Yeah.
That would have both RFPs and bids for public works projects and for sale of goods, and it could direct the parties, the entities that are interested in getting more information to wherever they have to go. If it's BidNet, if it's the official newspapers, if it's simply to the clerk's office to pick up copies, whatever it is, but you can just create a purchasing link, and that's probably the simplest way to do it.
Yeah,
And then
it's an
try and ease the
additional-
process on our side, whatever it takes for a bidder to come in and put their bid in, a contractor put their bid in, we should make it as smooth and easy for them as possible, so that they're not, shied away because it's a little more difficult to work with it, so to speak, if we can, if there's any way to, lighten that area up.
All right, so we're going to work on that. If we need to make changes to the way we're doing things, we're going to do it. I'm okay with voting on this next week because it's been around for so long now, and that roof, I agree with
It's
Suzie.
dangerous.
It's a dangerous roof. This roof has to get fixed, but going forward, I personally, I want to see at least 3 bids on any work that we do.
I can't promise you that, nor will I promise you that.
Well, I'll
No,
tell
I
you
know-
this, If we don't get them, if we don't get at least 3, I may not vote on it.
Yeah, I happen to agree with
I
that.
may not be in favor of voting on it if there's not at least 3, so we're gonna have to work hard. Let's get those 3. Might be a little bit more work, Rich, but do you understand?
I got, it's not a
You
matter
look
of
a
the
little
work.
frustrated.
It's not a matter of the work that gets done. I can't put somebody's pen to paper and have them submit a
Right.
proposal or a bid to us.
I'm not suggesting that.
We're not asking-
I am not
No,
suggesting
I know
that.
that. So we'll do what we have to do. We'll get stuff on our webpage, we'll try to reach out to people, we'll try to do it. But if only 2 people submit,
Yeah.
I can't make 3 people.
Rich, it's a culture you're trying to change,
We're trying to,
okay?
Right.
When you had 5 people come in, maybe we have to change how we speak to the 5 people, or how we ask the 5 people, okay? If it's a mandatory meeting on every bid package, and you're saying we're getting 5 for this one, and we only got 2 bids, and we say we had 7 for the last one, we only had 3 bids, and they were off the charts with their differences in numbers, something is wrong. So fundamentally, we're asking you, in the engineering department, somehow get the word out there that this town is open for business, and we welcome bids.
I think that has to come from the entire town, like Kenny said, from us as a town board as well.
Well, but the most
You
important
know,
part is it has to come from the people directly
Working
speaking
with
to the
them.
bids that come in.
Yep,
That's
yep.
what's important.
right. And part of the message is gonna be that we're gonna be competitive. You're gonna be competitive. The
Yeah.
contractors and the vendors that are bidding, these are competitive bids. They're competitive bidding, all right? Getting 2 bids back, which is not your fault, I'm not blaming you at all, Rich, is not, to me, is not competitive enough. We need to have other numbers.
It's going to take time to change.
It'll change.
The philosophy about the town of Carmel. You just happen to be in the position where you're stuck doing most of the change, because they're talking to you.
Not a
And
problem,
Rob.
it's
and the
not a big
department.
issue, we'll get it done.
All right,
Okay.
okay, and if you
Thank
need me,
you.
listen, I'll work with you. I'll work with you with that, putting together a new SOP, if you will, on how we bid projects in the town of Carmel. I can work with you on that.
Okay.
All right, and I'll help. We'll put something together that hopefully will work, and then we'll bring it back to the board
Yeah.
and update the board on what we think is a good procedure to follow.
Yeah,
all
and
right?
if anybody has any
And
ideas,
if the
get
board
'em
members
in. Yeah.
want to give some input, if you have any thoughts, or if you want to reach out, Bob, I know you like to do this type of work, if you want to reach out to other municipalities, do me a favor, reach out to Bedford and Yorktown.
Okay, we'll
And
do.
I'm only using those two as an example, because I know they have infrastructure like we do.
Okay.
Right, see how they do it.
All right.
All right, they may have maybe John Taggart from Yorktown, who's their planner, might be able to help you out with that.
Okay.
Will you do that?
Sure.
That'll save me some.
Get on it tomorrow.
All right. John Taggart is the Yorktown planner.
You know, and Kenny, now that you have some employees with a little bit of downtime and working from home, well, maybe they can work with Sullivan Data to put together a link on our webpage, and the engineering department can create that over the next couple of weeks.
And you said reach out to the town planner too. That's another reason why I think we're ready for a change with who we've had in this position for a dozen.
Well, that's something Mike, I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to have to address that. That's going to have, the planner position.
It has
We're
to.
going to have to act on that soon, because right now.
It ends in March.
It's almost
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck.
Yep.
I hate to refer to it that way, but it ends in March.
Well,
So,
let me
we're at
ask
the
you,
end- We're towards the end of March.
Yeah.
let me ask you this. You'd give me two, I'd like, since you like more than 3 or 4 or 5 reasons why the person that's been here for the last 15 years should remain here, and why we shouldn't make a change now when we're doing new comprehensive plan, and we're changing a lot of things in this building. Okay, give me a reason that says why, in the last 15 years, what has come into this town, and what has been built or looks good in this town that sets a precedent where we shouldn't even be looking for somebody else. And plus, the other bidder that was equal to the current bid is a woman company. And I, for one, we got the right judge in Judge Miller, but there were very competent women that came in for the job. But,
Yeah.
you know, Danny just blew everybody away.
I agree.
And I think it's time to have a woman there.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm not
just
being
want to,
prejudiced because I'm the
Yeah,
father of 3 daughters,
yeah, I just,
but I think a woman company should be
yeah,
there.
I just want to clarify one thing. The other company who we're using with the master plan, they do have a lot of women who are fabulous in that company, but it's not just owned by women. It does have males in it.
Well,
So,
it
but
was
the
run.
people that we met were unbelievable, which
the
happened to be
principal's a woman.
females. The principal is one of them.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, yeah, but it's not owned, it's not a female-owned company.
I wouldn't think any company would be all women or all men
Yeah.
nowadays.
Like, it's not a, what is it called, a weebie?
No, they would be an MWBE
A
or
weebie.
WBE.
Are
Yeah,
they?
it's a
They are
weebie,
not a WBE.
Okay.
right.
So
They're not a weebie.
Run companies, not only women in it, it's women.
Yeah,
run.
yeah, but,
Mike, that was the company you were referring to, is the same company?
yeah,
that-
yeah,
Oh,
which we
okay.
love, which
Okay,
we
yeah.
absolutely
Yeah,
all
and
love.
they gave us,
Yeah.
they gave us a proposal.
Yeah.
We have it from, is it
NPV?
NPV?
Yes, NBV.
NPV.
Yeah, I didn't know if we could say it right now, because,
No,
yeah,
proposals are in, you can say it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I believe their reasoning for amending their proposal was right on, instead of saying that their proposal was incomplete or inadequate when they submitted it. If you read their explanation of why they bid it that way, it's because, and I believe they're right, that's how it should have been bid, because most of the people that come in front of the planning board, I being one of them for years and years ago, now they finally changed it where the applicant pays for the consultant. And they submitted a bid, their price for their time, and an hourly price for their fees, thinking that the town would want to know their fees, so they tell the applicant.
Right, so working off a retainer is what, Mike, you're
Right.
saying. So they assume that the town was working off a retainer, which we don't work off retainers in the plan.
So again, it goes back to my other question.
Don't. I think you do it for the architect.
And I hate using the expression that I've learned over the last 40 years, you're one of five, now I'm one of five. Tell me the reason why we should retain what we have now. And let the townspeople decide if you're right or wrong. You tell me the reason to retain someone that's been here going on 20 years, back and forth, over 20 years, with slight breaks in the middle.
Did you have something to say, Greg?
I was just talking about the consultant's fees. There's no separate hourly consultant's fees that the applicants pay for the planner. Do we do it for architect?
We do it for the architecture review.
Did we have an architectural consultant to the planning board, and that is a separate thing, but the time for the engineering department, for building, for the planning consultant is deemed to be covered in the application fees. You guys escrowed before any, like in 97 or 98, they had actually escrowed money and then, kept the time and paid it out. That was done away with before anybody in the room got here. And now it's just covered by the application fees with the exception of the architectural consultant. And I think you escrow for seeker, right? Seeker review. Seeker review you escrow for too, I believe, yeah. If there's an EIS, there's an escrow process, which, I don't know, the last project we had that actually had an EIS here, maybe Union Place.
Yeah, those are the things that are done off escrow, the bigger
Not a ton of
projects.
them. So you're in the process right now of doing your comprehensive plan and your code update. If you want to address breaking out the planning consultant's time being charged to applicants, that's something you can consider as well. And depending on who the consultant is, maybe they'll have input on it that's, very, very accurate with respect to what you can expect for time.
Greg, just a quick question. You've been around a long time, as well as I have at this point. What are your thoughts about the planner being part of the same company that is doing the comprehensive work and the code revisions for us? Do you, in your opinion, is there any political conflicts with that? Or is there any professional conflicts that may arise because it's the same company that's doing the planning? You know where I'm coming from?
100%. I think it came up when you first, maybe 3 weeks ago, whenever you first got the proposals in, and NPV was one of the entities that had put in a number.
Can you give us your honest opinion?
They're not in a position where they're reviewing their own work. And that's really where you would get into a problem with the consultant, that they're on the applicant side. Either way, they're going to advise you on the development, revision, finalization of the comprehensive plan. They're going to advise you on the development, revision, and finalization of the town code updates, okay? Them being a planning consultant, when a particular applicant comes before the planning board with a site plan or a subdivision, I don't see that conflicts in any way with their duties to the town in those other two regards. And they also, there's ethical standards for engineers and for architects, and they have to avoid conflicts as well. So I don't believe that if they thought that, they would have submitted either. But I'd be comfortable with it. I think we were on record, at the end of February, whenever this came up, that I didn't have an issue with it. And if there ever is an issue that comes up, the contracts for the consultant or annual contracts, they have, termination clauses in them, 30 or 60 days, and then you walk. But if that's the consultant that you're most comfortable with, I wouldn't let that be a hindrance. Okay?
All right, on the flip side of the scenario I gave you first, the flip side of that, would there be a benefit? Could there be a benefit to having that firm work with their colleagues on our master plan code revision?
And then being a planning consultant?
Yeah.
If they develop the comprehensive plan for the town, and then they're reviewing applications for development in the town, who's going to be more intimately familiar with the ins and outs of the comprehensive plan and its intents and purposes? That consultant, right? They would be. I mean, they're going to develop it with you over the course of the next year or so.
It's an advantage.
Community input, board input, so I think that it probably would be.
Just so everybody, this wasn't rehearsed like this tonight, because I didn't know this was coming up.
I brought it
You
up.
brought it up.
I think the public knows I don't rehearse anything with you guys.
But we're still on the
I-
agenda. I think we should finish the agenda.
Yeah. This is new business. This wasn't on the agenda at all.
Yeah, like we're still on number 8.
All right.
I don't know how
It got-
morphed into
he-
this.
Kenny brought it out.
Well, it's my fault. I apologize. I added to the conversation, to the discussion, but you're 100% right, Sue. We got to get back to the agenda. But I did get some answers that I was looking for from council about this, so thank you. All right. We apologize, public, that we kind of got a little bit sidetracked, but that happens from time to time. We do get ourselves into that.
But it's town business regardless. So
Yeah.
there's no, it's information that the public
Right.
would like to know anyway. So
Definitely
it's
right.
information, yeah.
Right. Okay, are we finished with 8?
We finished with
He's
7.
got one
We
more.
finished,
Yeah, well, now we have to go to 9.
But I
Rich
would
has
agree.
one more.
Recap, what you would be, would you be
I
okay
would,
with it
because-
it's thing, and we're gonna move forward, and we're gonna new bid RFP.
I'm going to see the planner from Yorktown. I'm going to reach out to
And
him.
Bedford, and Bedford.
Look at a piece
And
of-
We're going to research.
I'll
Okay.
research it.
But you want a resolution?
Yes, I do want a resolution.
Awarding
for-
that to consider next meeting, right?
Yes, definitely, it's got to get done. There's no question about it. I'm in agreement with that, 100%, 110%. All right.
I know what I have to do.
All right, let's go to 9
just rewind
now.
the tape, that's all. Just rewind the tape and figure it out.
And I had said in an email to you guys 2 days ago, let's get this meeting done so
Stay on track. I know.
so we can all get out of here.
We'll print it for you next weekend.
All right, 9, consider request to authorize purchase for the replacement of thickener super Nathan pump, Carmel Sewer District 2.
So Infomark, the operators of Sewer District 2, alerted the engineering department that the pump thickener overflow pump needs to be replaced. Again, this is an original piece of equipment from 1997, and as part of the plant operations is needed to pump sludge to the head of the plant. Life expectancy is generally 10 to 15 years. Infomark requested and received quotes for the pump, $7,000 from Waste Core Pumps, and then Hayes Pumps had it for $10,514. We recommend the purchase of the pump from West Core at a cost of $7,000, and there are sufficient funds to make this purchase.
We got more than the life expectancy out of it.
Exactly. And Infomark, I think, will be doing the install on this.
Install, this one they can do.
They can do some, they can't do
They're
all.
qualified to do that?
Yes.
Rich, that was good pro action on your part to throw that in there.
I was just trying to anticipate it, and that's why I got the 97 in there.
Good
so
job,
you
good
know.
job.
Thank you.
Now, if we can get them to learn how to install
They
bag,
may.
Well, I know that was, it's an important conversation, and I will ask Infomark that. The board knows that we have just completed, or we're in the process of finalizing the water treatment plant study that Hazen and Sawyer did. I have the preliminary report. I had talked to Kenny, and Kenny, you may or may not remember, but we had talked, and we're going to probably have a presentation to the board, at least internally, in May, or hopefully, because Kenny, you were saying you didn't want to have people in executive session until further notice, so we're going to probably just try to have something where we can talk to the board and have the findings of that study presented to the board before we move it out to the public. So the idea is to move away from this type of plant, this diatomaceous earth plant, which there are just 2 left in New York State. Vinnie Perrin up in county always yells and screams. He goes, he can't wait for the plant to fail, haha, in a joking way, because he doesn't like the DE plant. He doesn't want the plant to fail, of course. So we should be talking about that soon enough with regards to the updated plant, just so you all know what's going on, so.
Thanks,
all
Rich.
right, Rich,
Thank you.
just to your point real quick on executive sessions, where we currently hold executive sessions, we can't do that.
Correct.
For obvious reasons. But we have to figure out a way to, because we're going to have executive
I have a suggestion.
sessions.
Since the public is not allowed into our meetings, we can close that door. We can have an executive session right in here, just like we're doing right now.
The building's locked anyway.
There's no, I mean,
And we're,
just, if we need to do it, and we can have, well, we can, it
It
doesn't matter, but we can still
it's hard
have,
for the
I don't
camera.
mind it like this.
yeah. And if we have more than one person coming in, we have enough space out there for all of that. We got plenty. I mean, not that we would need, but the room is cut in half, so we don't need the other half. But
Okay,
I
so-
suggest,
I want to bring that up after, when you ask comments from us.
Yeah.
Because there's something I want to say.
I happen to agree with what you're suggesting. I recommend
It just-
we'll have our executive sessions in here.
As long as we lock the 2 doors, because people come in, if we're in here, they stand over there, they can hear.
Yeah,
They
that's-
can hear.
Well, or we can do is, you can just obviously open that, so obviously you can see the other side.
Yeah.
And, the doors are closed, and good luck putting executive session, we talk about serious and confidential stuff, but if somebody's gonna put a stethoscope to the door, I mean, come on, let's get a little carried away.
There's one guy.
There's some
I
reporters-
understand. I understand what you're saying, but I think
That might do that.
I think because we have a big open room here, we can avoid,
Yeah.
we need to have executive session at some point, we're gonna have to, right?
He might,
We could just
he would hide in
continue.
that box over there.
Well,
and wait for the meeting.
I don't,
wouldn't fit.
that's a suggestion.
Okay, no, good suggestion, and I happen to agree with that. I do.
You wanted to ask me something?
Did I have something else for you?
Well, there's also, I'd like to meet with the board about the storage tank project.
That was my question. You just reminded me, Rich.
So-
We have to talk about that because there's some new information.
You told me April 8th was the
Yeah.
last time we spoke. I've advised Weston and Sampson that April 8th might be the next time we can have executive session.
Because there's been some new
But unless
development.
that changes, you let me know. So,
There's new developments with that. I don't know if you're aware of what they are, but you need to be made aware of it. Well, that's what we're,
that's why I want to have executive
He
session.
wants to have executive session.
If we can. I don't know.
So then
We
we can
can't
do
talk,
it,
let's not talk about it.
so then let's do it next week.
Or do it after the meeting tonight.
No, you'd have to now.
No, we
I
have-
mean,
No, I have to get them ready.
we,
Kenny, we're done with the agenda,
Yeah,
right?
we are, yeah, we're finished now.
thank you, Rich.
Thanks, Rich.
Thanks, Rich.
Thanks,
Do I
Rich.
need to be here for anything else? You guys have any other?
You're all set. Thanks,
No,
Thanks,
I think
Rich.
we're going to talk a little bit about the coronavirus outbreak.
I'm going to bring myself upstairs. I'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Rich.
All right, Rich, thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Have a
Stay
good
safe.
night. Mike?
Yeah, I want to say something because my daughter's a Facebook people, I'm not. And she said there was a couple negative comments about information coming out of this building regarding the virus. And for someone that does the business I work in, I go to a lot of different town halls and deal with a lot of different building departments. And I'm finding myself, down county, we're closed, we can't answer that. The building department is not there, the zoning department is not there, we're not capable of answering it. And I just want for the record to tell everybody, you should know this, but under the direction of the supervisor, with Frank as the liaison, this building is open. Every department is manned, every department will answer a question as quickly as possible when submitted. And this government is open. Kenny has lectured me, you don't close government, we have to be here for the people.
No.
And everybody you're looking at, all five of us, including the department heads that left and our town attorney, we all are concerned of what's going on to the maximum. And the building is open. Kenny is here on the front lines after after being forced to take months off for his heart surgery. And he does still have a heart. Frank, as the liaison, I talk to him once a day, at least. I could imagine how many times he talks to Kenny. And I know he's a Facebook guy. And I think you're always on Facebook with town information.
Yeah.
But the couple of comments were directed at comparing us to Yorktown, because the Yorktown supervisor goes on at a particular time, and like the president, like the governor, like the mayor, at a particular time, and they tune into it. So I'm leaving it to Frank if he wants to address that question, but to say this board is not showing the same concern, at least the same concern, as any other board is just absolutely ludicrous. This building is open, the man's on the front lines. Frank is taking questions from anybody and everybody. I spoke to him today, I spoke to the school superintendent today, we're all doing that, and here's your information point. So I want to just turn to you, and you tell them maybe on Facebook or some open public meeting.
So this is obviously a cooperative effort between all five of us, right? We're all This is issues that, an important issue for the town, for the safety of our employees, for the safety of our public, and we all have been addressing it and speaking about it, but I don't mind speaking about it. So, you know, we have the daily conference calls with the Department of Health on a daily basis, and whether it's Kenny and I, or Kenny, Susie and I, or whoever, we're all on those calls. And we're getting only the information that we're getting from them, we're putting out there, right? So there's nothing hidden, there's nothing secretive. At the end of the day, it comes down to two things. It comes down to science and math. It comes down to math, what the numbers are, and science, how the virus is spreading. So what we've done, all of us, is we put a plan in place together for the building. Government needs to stay open. We've all said that. All 5 of us have said we are, the public relies upon us, and this way we disseminate information. And this is a little bit of sense of normalcy. Now, the meeting tonight is not normal because we're usually sitting next to each other and, you know, tapping each other on the shoulder or reminding, whispering something. We're not doing that because Kenny, yesterday, literally took a tape measure and measured the 6 feet, and that's why we are spaced out the way we are. So Kenny's trying to force us to yeah, we got tape here. It's right here. But, you know,
Everybody
Kenny's...
should have a piece of tape.
I don't
We do.
have a
It's a
piece.
6-foot line.
This is the example that
No, but
the supervisor is trying, Kenny, if I may? This is the example that the supervisor and the town board is trying to show the public that, you know, we take this very, very seriously. We've planned accordingly, but, you know, when residents have questions or concerns for government-related issues, there's going to be somebody here who's going to answer the question. We do have essential personnel. We do have signs on all the doors, email addresses and phone numbers and whatnot, and I haven't heard anybody say, wow, I called somebody or I emailed somebody at town hall and they didn't get back to me. That I have not heard that once. I don't think anybody else here has. I mean, yeah, I like Facebook. I like to connect with people and whatnot, and what I've done is each time there's been something mentioned by the Board of Health, Kenny and I have talked about it, and we've put it on Facebook. We've put it on saying that, for example, this morning, the county announced that there were 82 confirmed cases in Putnam County, and there's going to be more. There's going to be more because there's not this testing that goes on. You know, they get tested today, and you don't get a result for another day or two, and that's just the way it is. So the number is going to go up. I mean, but that's, you know, that's part of what's going to happen here. The number's going to go up, it's going to peak, and then it's going to come down. And the governor said today that on Sunday, they thought that the hospitals were going to be overrun, doubled every 2 days. On Monday, they thought it was every 3 days, and today was every 4.7 days. So they're getting a little bit of a spread, which is good, But the example that we're setting here, you know, starting from the supervisor on down, is we're doing what we're supposed to do. We're telling people to stay home, right? Just stay home. If you need to shop for essentials, go out once a week. Ask your elderly neighbors if they need anything and drop it off, because they're the most vulnerable of the group. And I'm lucky that I have, you know, my brother and my sister-in-law, who are the 2 of the top doctors in the state of New York, and I can say that because my brother actually received an award about that last year. So that's great information for all of us, and I've sent some articles and things that he's provided to us. So we have that benefit. So the information is getting out there. We're on many, many different pages, and we've gotten a ton today, thanking all of us for the work that we've done in relaying the information out to us. I don't know, Kenny, you've gotten some messages, and I think we all have. So we're doing what we need to do. We're going to continue what we need to do, but under the leadership of the supervisor, the building is open. We're here doing the people's work, and we're going to continue to do the people's work until somebody tells us that we can't.
Okay.
Thank you, Frank. I think you do an excellent job as a liaison, you're keeping me up to breast and the rest of the board and the public, and your sharing of information is top-notch. Doing a great job.
Well, the county send in emails. For some reason, there was a little bit of a delay of putting some of us on it, but that email will go out to everyone whenever we get it. It'll go out to the rest of us, and it's just basically a rehash of what happened during the day. So the email from tonight or tomorrow morning is going to be what we just talked about today. But we all need to, and Kenny's been very vocal on many issues and questions with regard to, and I won't get into particulars because it's not that important right now, but, we are 40,000 residents here in the town of Carmel out of 100. We're the biggest town in the county, and believe you me, we are very well represented in those telephone conferences by the supervisor. So anybody has questions, our emails and our phone numbers are on the town's website. Many people in town have my direct number. I'm not shy to put it out there. Everybody knows how to get in touch with all 5 of us, and it's very, very easy to do that because the website that we have has our cell phone numbers for the most part. So call any of us, and we all know the same information, and whatever we find out, we are putting it out to the public. But again, it's just about staying home, staying at a distance. There was an issue, Kenny, which you talked about yesterday with, kids want to be active and they want to play ball and they want to do that, but
Right now.
parents tell them no. Tell
Not
them
the
no,
time.
because it's not just because we're worried about them, we're worried about them bringing it home to their parents and their grandparents, et cetera, et cetera. And so the science and the math of it is what's going to bring us to numbers that are starting to decline, and we'll get there together.
All right. Thanks, Frank. I think that, Frank had mentioned it, just touched on it, but during these conference calls, you have to speak up, all right? The elected officials have to speak up. If you sit there silent and there's a particular issue or concern that you have within your respective towns, if you sit there silent and don't talk about it, that's the worst thing you can do. I may have offended some people today on the conference call. That's fine, okay? They may not have liked what I had to say, but I said it. Because I represent, as you all do, we represent the entire community. We're their voices, all right? So if I'm passionate about something, I feel strongly about a particular topic or item, I'm going to say it, all right? And if I offend anybody by it, I apologize. But it's important to me that I ask it. Because if you don't ask the question, you're not going to know what the answer is. So Frank will tell you. There were a couple people on the phone that perhaps didn't like what I was asking, but I asked it anyway, and I'm not going to share with you guys what the topic was, but it was important to this community, and it's been asked to me time and time again, and you guys have probably gotten the same question, all right? But, so, anyway, the conference calls have been very informative. They've been very productive, and I'm glad we're doing them, all right?
Very much so.
But this particular topic, we don't have a consensus or an agreement on right now. Will that change? I think it might change as we go along, but the answer right now is that their answer is the answer, and I have to accept that because I'm not the decision maker, right? But they've heard my voice loud and clear.
Kenny, I forgot one thing.
I apologize.
No.
Please.
Don't apologize.
Support the restaurants and delis that are doing takeout, curbside service, and delivery. We all need to support them. Shop locally and support the local restaurants, please.
And Frank, you were saying, because someone did ask, if you can just give the number that they call about the questions. I want to say
very easy.
I want to say
Very easy.
211, but I don't want to make sure.
And that's a great point. And I put it on, Mike, I put it on Facebook the other day. 911 is for certain type of emergencies. And if we inundate the 911 number with just for questions and stuff with regard to this, somebody's life may be in danger. So rather than calling 911, please, the number is just as easy, 211. If you live in Putnam County, call 211, somebody will answer your question. And again, let's common sense dictate. They're not going to test everybody. If you have a cough or a sneeze, they're not going to test you because somebody that actually may need the test, you're taking up the time and you're taking up the test. let's face it, right now, the test kits are limited. Again, the main points, and Susie knows because working in a hospital, fever, shortness of breath, coughing, a combination of those is what may trigger you to have the corona. So
Early onset, is
Early
you
onset.
lose your sense of smell, taste and smell too.
Okay, yeah, so, don't be surprised, the numbers are gonna go up. That doesn't worry me or shock me, because there's limited testing going on, and they're getting, as the results come in, each day the state and the Department of Health and the state tells Putnam County what the numbers are. That's how it operates, okay? So we're getting everything from Albany coming down to the counties. So the numbers will go up, but that's okay. Just continue, stay home, work from home. I'm working from home. I know Greg is. I think everybody who can is, and thank goodness for our nurses and doctors and firemen and police who don't have that option. So, let's remember them in our thoughts and prayers, and their families as well.
And I just want to reiterate what the chief was saying, and Kenny, I think this community has been absolutely unbelievable in helping each other. There has been such positivity out there, and I just think that we are going to be better for it after this is over. We're going to be stronger, we're going to be nicer to each other.
Yeah.
And they have just been, not even asking, they're just giving. People want to do something. I mean, this is really a tough thing that everybody's going through. And I just want to say to all the parents out there that are letting their kids go out, if they don't think it's real, just go down. Well, you can't, but I wish that you could see the ICU. Because if anybody could see what's happening in the ICUs right now, you would not go outside. You would not go out. All right, it's real. Please, we'll get through this, but please stay your distance. If you don't need to go out, don't. Stay home.
Yeah, agreed. Because that's the only way that the spread of it is going to be contained.
Yep.
All right?
And it's not going to be forever.
No.
It's not going to be forever. Clean your garage, do something.
Yeah.
But
No, so we'll continue to do what we're doing on the town level. The variable message boards were put out with clear messages on them about CDC requirements, and I've gotten calls on that. So we're doing, the town hall will remain open. There's a designated area. When you come in here, the security guard, the SPO, is going to direct you to that designated area. You're going to tell the officer what you're here for. He'll contact the department, and a member of that department will come down and assist you. All right, so just come in. You don't go to where you would normally go to the departments in the building. We're not doing that anymore. It's in a separate room. It's actually in the back of this meeting room, and then somebody will assist you. We'll continue to do that. Frank, I think the New York reported numbers, I heard this earlier, actually went down today. Was the first time that the reported cases in New York State were lower than the day before, which it's a good sign, but I don't know how real that is, because I don't know how many testings that there were. It depends on how many tests were done, all right? But it's a good sign that the number actually went down. I don't know if that means anything, but I heard that today, which is kind of positive, but,
It's nice to hear that if it is in fact true, but let's not, take our foot off the pedal, so to say, and stay home. And New York State has 50% of the country's positive cases. And Putnam County from this morning to today, to tonight, went up another, 10, 11, and by tomorrow morning, there's going to be more. So it's all part of the course, right? It's just, and again, the science of it is stay away, let the virus cure off those who have it, and the virus goes away. And maybe with the change of weather being warmer, the county said that's a possibility that the virus can't only survives well in 30 to 50 degrees. So hopefully if it gets warmer, that'll be another positive step as well. And I know we've taken a little bit extra time, but I think it was important to.
Just one final comment. Do you have something?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to end on a happy note. Welcome Grandpa to
Go
the
ahead.
club.
Grandpa.
Yes.
Yeah,
Little baby
I was
Aiden.
supposed to actually show a picture
He is,
of him.
adorable.
I don't know if the camera is able to.
So just so you guys know, you guys made the Northern Westchester Hospital newsletter.
I did.
Yeah.
I did hear that, Susie.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
And
He's a cutie.
I couldn't be more happier. It's a life changer for me, and I was told that would happen, and I didn't know how it would feel, right? But when you become a grandfather for the first time, it really makes you you're a grandfather how many times, so it's a different feeling, all right? And I got that feeling, just so everybody knows. I couldn't be happier, but here's the issue. Because of coronavirus, I can't visit my grandson. I couldn't go to the hospital and visit him like everybody else would normally do, but we're not in normal times. And so we made signs up, and we stood outside of the hospital, 4 of us, my ex-wife Lynn, Susie's sister, my son Chris, his wife Emily, and me. We sat outside the hospital. We stood outside the hospital with signs. The security guards at the hospital thought we were protesters.
Yeah.
So they called at 10:13, and they came running out. They were going to break up protesters, so I figured out it was us welcoming this child into the world. Then they settled down a little bit. But anyway, Dominic, I have a picture of my new grandson, Aiden. Is there any way that you can zoom in on this? I'm not sure which camera you're using. So anyway.
Hold it up, Kenny, hold it up. Hold it straight up.
All right.
We'll
This
get-
is Aiden, everybody.
You'll get I'm sure there'll be bigger ones soon.
Well, welcome to the world, Aiden.
Yes,
All right.
welcome.
It's Susie's, it's your nephew, right? Yeah. Mike, did you see him, Mike? Okay. It was her godchild, my son Brett, who had the baby. So we couldn't be happier. The Schmidt family grew by 1, and he's doing great. Mom's doing great. They're home. And everybody who comes to see the baby, you have to stand outside, and they bring the baby to the window.
Is it a disadvantage to the 6-foot separation?
I can't pick
Tell the
up.
public what the disadvantage is. I can't kick Frank, and Frank can't kick Kenny. The same motion.
To tell
My
them-
legs are long, but they're not that long.
Quick question. Were there any comments from the public for tonight's meeting? We had mentioned last meeting, if
Oh,
they had
yeah,
any
yeah.
questions, they could reach out to us.
Yes,
Did
there weren't
anybody-
any from
there weren't
last
any?
meeting,
Okay.
no.
So I guess likewise for the next meeting.
Yeah,
It'll be in,
Check the
it'll be in your,
agenda.
yeah, it'll be
Well,
in
they
our
know
emails.
It is so.
it'll be
All
in,
right,
yeah,
Email or something. All right,
yeah.
that's it.
All
That's
right,
all I have.
okay, so.
Well,
it's-
congratulations,
And
Grandpa.
congratulations.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, and
I'll second it.
I am Grandpa, so.
Congratulations.
Grandpa, and I found
All right.
out, I found out the grandma's name.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know either,
I found out today.
what Lynn wants to be called. What do you call? Mimi, right? Mima
No.
or Mimi?
She's going to be Mimi.
She's gonna be
Mimi Lynn. Motion to adjourn. It was seconded by Councilman Chanel.
Chanel.
Mike is over there like that.
Bob, Councilman Bob.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, good night, everybody. We'll see you back here next Wednesday for town board voting meeting. It's going to be the same arrangement.
Leave one at a time.
Good night, everyone. Be
Good night.
well, be careful, and be safe and healthy. Use your precautions. Good night.
Good night.